If you know anything about Japan and its culture, you'll know that evil spirits and the banishment of them play a pretty prominent role in their folklore, their beliefs, and their art. Everyone feels content that the demons causing havoc won't be back to cause trouble, but have you ever wondered what makes them so sure? Extermination of Evil is a series of 5 paintings created sometime during the 12th century, and while no one to this day knows who drew these paintings, they are considered a national treasure of Japan. In fact, if you ever wanted to see them in person, they're showcased within the Nara National Museum. Seeing as I don't have the money to go to Japan, I can only imagine the in-person experience of learning about these paintings by going to the official website of the Nara National Museum, the Samugo Gallery, and the National Treasures and Important Cultural Properties e-Museum, which have high-res pictures and info on these paintings that I would like to relay to more people out there, because I think it's pretty rad. Links to all 3 and more are in the description if you want to go on your own personal path of discovery. Starting off, we have Tenase. Known as the god of heavenly punishment, he himself was a demon-like deity in the belief system of Onmyodo, or the way of the yin and yang, a practice that was brought to Japan by China in the 5th and 6th century along with Buddhism and Confucianism. It involved elements of astrology, the classic Chinese doctrines of yin and yang, and the Wu Xing, or 5 elements, to do what amounts to fortune-telling to try and predict good and bad fortunes for families, the country, and most importantly, the government. This version of Onmyodo was abolished in 1870, and nowadays is mainly seen as occultism and a way to give anime characters superpowers, but the current Onmyodo practice that was revitalized during the 20th century is heavily influenced by Shintoism and has little in common with staring at the sky and a group of foxes to figure out if today is a good day to repair that leak in your ceiling, or if the feng shui in your house is funged up. In Japan, Tenase is seen as the origin point of Shikigami, beings of great power that are called upon to exact the will of those who called upon it, and in this painting you can see him doing just that, dipping demons in bowls of vinegar before chowing down on them. Interesting to point out, this dude in particular is said to be Gozu Tenno, a god of pestilence that was seen as the causer of and protector against epidemics, showing that Tenase not only devours demons like their gyoza, but he also has an iron grip on pestilence, preventing it from wreaking havoc. Second in line is Sendon Kandatsuba. This one takes a bit more explanation, so bear with me for a moment. Kendatsuba is the Japanese name for the Gandharva, a Buddhist class of celestial beings that hail from India. They're known as skilled musicians, singers, or even dancers that will perform for the gods of Hinduism. In Japan, Kendatsuba retain the musical skill, but are more referred to as low-ranking demigods that care for nature, are attracted by and nourished by pleasant scents, and originally were beings that impeded the enlightenment of monks who entered their forest or mountains, thinking them to be potential threats. However, after hearing a sermon from Buddha himself, the Kendatsuba converted to Buddhism and entered a kinship with humanity, vowing never to bother those on the path of enlightenment, even choosing to encourage them with their music and songs, as well as protect their children from sickness and harm, to keep their minds clear of worry while meditating. Kendatsuba were also known as attendants for the 12 celestial devas, which is important to point out for a reason we'll get into later. Now, Sendon Kandatsuba is seen as one of their kings, described as one of the 33 forms of the Kannon Bosatsu, or the Lord of Compassion. He is specifically invoked in Buddha's rituals to protect children from evil, normally depicted in armor and holding a trident. He violently punishes demons by decapitating them with one strike, impaling their heads upon his trident. In the painting, his trident has 15 heads of demons skewered upon it. These are thought to be every malevolent deity that was said to torment newborns. Third up, we have Shinchu, and this one is probably my favorite. Known as the Divine Insect, this painting depicts a massive silk moth devouring demons. The reason for his name is due to silkworms being the primary source of silk in the past. and considering how valuable silk often was, they were highly valued and even perceived as miracle-granting deities, hence the name. The writing on the right states that Shinchu resides in the southern mountains of India and eats 3,000 demons by day and 300 demons by night. Which I can believe because look at him! He can't get these demons in his mouth fast enough! What I love about him is just his face. Like, the idea of a massive moth with sharp teeth munching away like he's at a Golden Corral with 100% off discount is horrifying. But then you look at his dopey little face and it's oddly cute? I don't know if that's crazy to say, it probably is, but I really like him. He's just a hungry guy who really hates demons. The fourth painting revolves around Shoki, a Taoist deity known by Zhang Kui in China. In his original legend, it states that one day, the Tang Emperor Zhuazong fell deathly ill and had a dream in which he saw a small spirit ransacking his home, stealing money, and a flute that the emperor cherished. As he helplessly watched, a much larger spirit entered the room, caught the smaller spirit before it could escape, tore its eye out, and ate it. The large spirit introduced himself as Zhang Kui, and swore that he would keep the empire safe from evil. The emperor soon awoke, making a full recovery from his illness, and immediately commissioned the court painter to detail how Zhang Kui looked while it was still fresh in his mind. In Japan, Shoki is said to be so frightening to demons that even the word of his appearance will drive them away in fear. It's also said that 80,000 of the demons that he has triumphed against have pledged allegiance to him and are at his command. In the painting, Shoki is seen ripping out a demon's eye, much like the dream the emperor had, with the writing on the right saying as much. Shoki would later be used as an icon during the Boys' Festival, which later be known as Children's Day, the last day in Golden Week. Shoki would be depicted on an amulet given out during the festival, sharpening his sword, which was meant to ward off disease and excite a competitive nature between the children. What's interesting about all this is that Emperor Zhuazong was said to have reigned in China from 712 to 756. And Shoki, as a legend, would not be wildly known in Japan into the Edo period, nearly 1,000 years later, and 500 years after the moment these paintings were thought to be made in the 1100s. It really adds to the mystery of it all. Who knew about all of these legends back then? And who painted them? The final painting is of Bishamoten, which might sound familiar to you. He's the chief of the heavenly kings of Buddhist mythology, which is part of the 12 celestial devas, or the 12 deities of directions. Bishamoten is the north deity, and the heavenly kings are often referred to as the devas of cardinal directions, while the other 8 deities are stuff like northeast, southwest, the sun, the moon, you get it. Hopefully. Bishamoten is widely regarded as a god of wealth and protection, not only of temples, but of Buddhist law itself. He's known in his homeland as the Indian god Vaisravana? Listen, I am but a simple goober who learned Japanese in high school. I was not raised to pronounce Sanskrit. I'm sorry. As that name, he's known as the leader of all nature spirits, which is why the connection between Kendatsuba, the 12 devas, and this series of paintings that also happens to feature Bishamoten is so interesting to me. In the painting, Bishamoten is seen protecting a monk by shooting down demons that were trying to interrupt his chanting. While Bishamoten is normally depicted with a spear, there have been many Chinese works from as early as 618 that talk of his mastery with a bow as well. Unlike all the other deities in these paintings that are red in the face with anger, or visibly and or literally monstrous, Bishamoten is the only one that is calm, composed, and deals with the demons accordingly. It gives off the impression that Bishamoten doesn't let his hate guide his hand, or maybe he's grown above hatred for the evil in the world, and is merely working to expel evil from these lands. He has a job to do, and he sees it through. Nothing more, nothing less. After reading about all 5 of these paintings, while we still have no clue who made these, it's pretty clear why they were even made in the first place. Before we fully understood natural disasters, before we understood plagues and their causes, humanity as a whole, no matter the religion or part of the world, would view them as acts of God or evil posing as gods. Thinking that typhoons or earthquakes were the acts of demons made sense at the time, because why else would something that destructive happen when you've seemingly done nothing wrong to cause it? Extermination of evil exists and is treasured so greatly by Japan because it represents the act of dealing with a threat you can't see once and for all. Whether it be sudden natural disasters, an epidemic that threatens to rear its ugly head again, or something as simple as having healthy crops going bad out of the blue. They are all demons in everyday life that must be dealt with by the gods people pray to help humanity bounce back from any adversity. And so, even though time marches on, and more demons seem to spawn with every passing day, Japan rests easy every night, knowing that all the evil in the world will be mutilated, tortured, eaten, dismantled, and above all, exterminated.